Did you know that a lot of digestive issues are caused by a potential toxin that's in all of the quote healthy foods that scientists have been telling us to eat with a fraudulent food pyramid for the longest time? Warning signs include weight gain and fatigue, digestive discomfort and stiff joints, even skin problems. Well, Dr. Gundry, a world-renowned cardiologist, explains these side effects are often mistaken for normal signs of aging because digestive issues develop usually over a matter of years and sometimes even decades. He says the damage is probably caused by these health foods and it's far from normal. The good news is you can easily help fix the problem from your own home. It's very simple. You just have to know which foods are actually healthy and which contain this hidden potential toxin. So you can go find this yourself at gutcleanseprotocol.com/inspired, because after years of research, Dr. Gundry has decided to release an informative video to the public, free and uninterrupted, showcasing exactly which foods you need to avoid. Go find that video at gutcleanseprotocol.com/inspired or click on the link in the video description below. Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, it's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Inspired live stream. It is Monday, February 19th, 2024. We're healthy, wealthy, whole, and free. As I said, we might even be winning here. It's good to see you all in the live chat. Welcome on YouTube, Rumble, X, and everywhere where you're tuning in from. There's sort of an ongoing big discussion going on. It's really ignited over the last couple of years, but it's getting bigger now. And the question is, when we look at the alternative media, everybody knows the Mockingbird media. The vast majority of people in the Mockingbird media cannot be trusted. The very networks and companies, very few companies who own these Mockingbird media outlets control them. And so even if there were some sincere and more honest and integrity-driven journalists in there, they wouldn't have the ability even. And if they do say things that are off the script, you know what happens. So that's a clarity for the Mockingbird media. But the alternative media is a whole different beast, and the way it developed. But here we are in 2024, and I think we have to kind of take a little bit of a look of discernment. So I just put a few people on this thumbnail. We put a few people on this thumbnail today, like Alex Jones and Russell Brand and Elon Musk and Candace Owens and Tucker, I think. And the question is, whom can we trust? The simple answer is that's the wrong question. But I want to play this clip. I don't know if you know the amazing Polly. I've come across her stuff over the years every now and then. This came on my on my X tweet or Twitter feed if you want to. And I'd like to share this little clip with you. It's just to trigger a few questions.
He says, F you, right on stage. There are 3 or 4 grown men in their 50s acting like this is the greatest thing in the world.
Go f*** yourself.
It's happening again. It never gets old.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
He's really enjoying that, isn't he? He's an unusual cat, Elon Musk. Because you've got to be unusual, I suppose. The rockets, those cars, the flamethrower thing, buy Twitter, change its name to X, all of that. Like, you can sort of see he operates on an unusual frequency. And Elon Musk, I guess he's got the dollar. He's got the dollar to back it up. What's fascinating is to see a mind like that, that's the mind of an engineer that knows how things work, how things operate. You might not like Elon Musk, okay? But you are going to have to start forming alliances with people that are willing to stand up against the establishment.
I can't be certain, but Musk doesn't look like he's on their team to me.
He's not on their team.
That's what I think.
Well, he's insanely wealthy and independent and an actual legitimate genius in a world of fools.
He's restless.
He's a fun guy to have at the helm.
And I think he looks at what is being plotted against us and sees it as a fun challenge to confront it. So that,
yeah, and literally in a discussion with the guy from the New York Times, he goes, go fuck yourself. Go fuck, let me be clear. Go fuck yourself.
This idea that Elon Musk is working for the establishment, when, as you point out, there's a lot of different factions that are like battling over the levers of control. I just don't see as fair. And then, okay, say we don't trust Elon. We got to see what he does long term. Judge a tree by his fruits. But then don't spend 90% of your time saying Elon's a shill, Elon's a fraud. We could lose Musk when he's trying to jump to our camp if we don't embrace him.
Okay, so I thought this was sort of an interesting compilation here. And I have to be completely honest. I have found some value from all of the speakers that you just saw on the screen at some point in some conversations. But does that mean I trust any one of them? Actually, it doesn't mean that at all. I believe we're asking the wrong question. This whole system of shenanigans and falsehoods and deceptions and whatnot was solely built on trust. That's what every politician that comes along has been saying. Well, trust me, I'm one of you, and if you elect me, if you give me your vote, I'll do what I'll provide the solutions for you. And this is sort of where exactly the rubber meets the road and the wheat separated from the chaff is. If I look at personalities in the alternative media, there's many whom I think have brought great value to the people. And now, in this day and age, there's just as many who simply jumped on board because it's a lucrative deal for them. Because they have a lucrative deal, they have someone backing. There is some very directed misinformation that comes directly from the cult and that disguises as alternative media. So all of this, let's take all of this into equation. I differentiate between two kinds of people. And that determines, for me, whether I'm even going to pay more attention to what they say. If when I watch someone or listen to someone and what they say fundamentally or what solutions they point to empowers me or gives me the chance to be empowered or inspires me to empower myself, whichever way you want to put it, then I'm going to listen more closely. Right? If somebody comes out and said, hey, here's some very fundamental problems in our world. It looks like there's a concerted effort against humankind. And the solution is that you trust these people here whom you never saw. They're behind a wall. They're hidden. They're secret. It's a secret group. And these people are going to take care of it. And you just eat the popcorn and trust the show. I don't trust that. Because it gives me zero empowerment, or it doesn't allow me to participate really in any of it, right? However, it feels great if you subscribe to Hopium, because you don't have to do anything. You can just swap out the current system for another control system. Might be well-intentioned for now, but that's basically what it is. However, if somebody comes out and said, hey, listen, here are the fundamental problems that we're facing in the world today. This is what's been going wrong. We've been asleep at the wheel. We didn't pay attention, whatever. And this is what we're facing right now because there's a lot of things. And here is what I think we could all do. You could do right now, today. If somebody that speaks to you from a public platform can or at least attempts to inspire you to take some very real, actionable, personal steps in your life to empower yourself and bring more sovereignty and freedom to yourself. Now, that to me always gets a plus. However, that doesn't mean you have to just blindly trust that person. The whole point usually with someone like that is that they are not asking you to just trust them and take their word. Because if you really want the greatest good for all, then what you really want is for everybody to be free and sovereign in their decision making and to be able to take care of themselves, to be able to make up their own minds, to be able to make their own decisions, to be able to do all these things. That at least is our intention. It's always been our intention. I don't want anyone to follow me, just blindly trust me, take my word for it or anything like that. I don't want that. I don't want to be a cult leader. I don't want to be at the top of the helm and I hide most of what's there so I can kind of bring you along just enough information so you keep that's not what our intention is at all. And there's a number of great people in the alternative media space that are like that. They're ultimately saying, here's what I think each and every one of us should do or should attempt to do. And if that gives you a feeling of, okay, I can do this, I can actually have impact first in my own life and then maybe on a bigger stage. That to me is empowerment. And I can't know, just looking at the personalities that I shared on this thumbnail and that are out there, I can't know where their heart's at, where their spirit's at, what their wallet is connected to. Have they been co-opted, blackmailed, coerced? I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is that these are the two distinctions, and that isn't just alternative media. That's life in general. If somebody says, just trust me, I have the solution. And if you put enough trust in me, you don't really have to do much. Put trust in me, maybe money too, but trust, and then I'll fix it. I don't trust that at all. Because I have never experienced a situation in my life where that has actually worked. I've never experienced where somebody was able to solve my own problems or challenges or pains or whatever I had for me. I got help. I was able to accept or ask for help. I was able to receive help. I was able to be guided. But every one of the people that I thought had great value to my life and that I felt a natural trust towards, they pointed all of it back to me and said, here's what you got to do. Or here's where I would suggest you go. Here's what I would suggest you do. Now it puts you at the helm of things. It puts you in the position of the steering wheel. And we have given up the steering wheel as a society for such a long time that is a challenging thought, that we might actually be able to take care or be in charge of most of the important things in our lives again and be fully responsible. But this is, to me, what separates the great people in this alternative media space from everybody else. And that are not pushing agendas or people or something that is outside of your control. And if you look in the mirror tomorrow and you feel that you can do this, whatever this is in your life, that's empowerment. If you find solutions to problems that you had and you can now begin solving your own problems or your own challenges, overcoming them, healing them, that is empowerment. And I think we all need to empower each other, but mainly empower ourselves. And in my life, all I'm looking for when I'm looking for information, when I'm looking for things that I don't know that much about, because I don't know anything. I don't know shit compared to what's there to know. And there's always so much more to learn. But what I'm looking for is information that empowers me, not information that makes me hopeless or makes me feel like it's in the hands of somebody else. And so if you want to kind of create your own compass for this, connect with the spirit. There's a very simple thing. Somebody sent me a clip. I won't say who, and I won't say who the clip was about, but a friend sent me a clip of a by now, since 2020, has become very well-known doctor that most of you would probably know by name, that's out there discussing many things around the bioweapons and the juice and a lot of what's connected to that, and very knowledgeable, very sophisticated, knows how to speak. It's all, and the information a lot of times when you go verify, it seems to be very accurate. And he sent me that clip and said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I've never met that doctor, so this is purely intuitive." But I never felt trust. And that is something that I encourage everybody to pay attention to. Even though sometimes someone says exactly the right things and they're hitting the nail on the head, and there's nothing that you could possibly dissect in their speech that is wrong, you still feel it might be off. It might not come from an honest place, number one. They might be driven by an ulterior motive, and they're not really, they're not really saying these things for the reason they pretend to be saying them. They might be controlled in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what it is, but something about that particular doctor. And I said, of course, I'd give him a chance. If I get to meet him, I would talk to him. I would see maybe my initial reaction was wrong. All of that, but you have a guidance system. You have a natural, internal, spirit-driven guidance system. And that spirit-driven guidance system is your compass. And that is what should be at the helm of this. None of us should blindly trust anybody we've never met that is just big on a screen, including myself, by the way. We're small compared to these speakers. We're tiny. We're just a small operation. But I'm not here and say, hey, trust me on everything I say. Just do what I say. We're going to fix things. No, I actually, my greatest intention is that one day you maybe just like we'll turn off the screens. We'll live our lives. We'll have regained skills. We'll have reconnected with our communities. We'll have found deeper meaning. We'll have found deeper relationships. We will have discovered the truth that we needed to discover, and we will have healed what needed healing. That's really the intention here. It's not to build some sort of empire that just keeps on going forever. And so I will not tell you, of course, I will not tell you whom you should or shouldn't trust. You have to make up your mind. I can just tell you what my criteria is for that. And I turn away. I'm naturally repelled by people who put the solutions for my personal challenges in somebody else's hands. Because ultimately, our solutions are not in some politician's hands. And they shouldn't be. The next president of whatever country we're talking about, let's say the United States, that's a much talked about topic. The next president of the United States shouldn't have the power to have that much of an impact that he or she might be able to solve the real issues or challenges in your life. Now, they can help, sure, in a leadership position to create better conditions for certain things, to remove certain obstacles. Sure, all of that's accurate. But they can't be the white horse coming in, fixing everyone's problems. That doesn't, it just doesn't work that way. And anyone who tells you it does work that way has ulterior motives or doesn't know better. And here I come to the last category. I am sort of sometimes surprised, or not really, but that a lot of well-intentioned people that I've met in this alternative media world that are, you meet them and as I said, they're well-intentioned, they're kind, and they have a good heart, but they're also heavily injured, unhealed. So a lot of what they share, a lot of what they say comes from a ultimately still traumatized place. So they're projecting their own traumas, their own deepest fears and worries. And that colors very much what they share and the information and how they present it. And I think when you do have a platform like that, where you reach thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, you sort of have the responsibility to be the best possible version of yourself and make sure that what you share is not tainted by your own pain, by your own trauma, right? So I think those qualities in the future will all come back. And I think we will ultimately feel again very clearly whether someone is actually ready for such a public position or not. And their own well-being and health should very much reflect that. It's just like I think it's ironic that a lot of people step up to the plate and say, hey, I want to lead a nation. And you look at their families, and their families are a mess. I go, well, so within your small little system, there's no coherence, there's no harmony, there's deception and pain and problems but somehow you think that you're able and capable of leading a whole nation, which consists of millions of families. To me, that doesn't make sense. To me, personally, that doesn't make sense, right? I mean, I'm kind of, micro macro equals. So what you think should work on a macro level should first be established on a micro level. And that's how, at least how I view it. And so again, I didn't come here to point fingers. I didn't come here to say whom you should or shouldn't trust. I just wanted to share what I think, what my criteria are, and what might help with that. All righty. Well, this was it. This was it for today, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with us on this journey. And there's a lot in the world in the next few days that I'm gonna get caught up on with you. There's the worldwide farmers' protests. The Mockingbird media has surprisingly, unsurprisingly started to pick it up, call it a worldwide movement, and they're starting to use some of the same language, which tells me they are trying to put their spin on it, of course. So that's what we're going to see. But there's an authentic, real, beautiful movement, a contagion, a positive contagion that is spreading around the world. The farmers that are standing up, the entrepreneurs and small business owners, and all the others that are joining them. So we're going to talk more about that in the following days. It's now in Asia, it's in Europe, it's in North America in some places, and that'll grow. It's in Australia. It's all over the place. And it's not just farmers. Like I said, it's everyday people who are done, who are fed up, who are absolutely not on board with the social engineering, the technocrat agenda of a group of wannabe elites just redesigning, restructuring society into a dystopian, non-working concept. And the media is beginning to at least acknowledge that this is about way more than tax hikes, way more about than restrictions on farmers. This is truly a movement, and to keep the movement honest, it has to retain a certain level of spontaneity, right? When it's too organized, that's when you can influence. So spontaneity will continue to be important. And so we'll cover that. We'll talk about that. There's, in the world of politics, world politics, geopolitics, there's so much going on. We seem to have entered, because it's an election year, a shooting season here in the United States. If you're from abroad, if you're not as familiar with the subject, unfortunately, big political events like elections and election years seem to coincide with big shooting events. Unfortunately, oftentimes there are multiple perspectives and angles on this, and a few other things that I think are important to cover in the next days. And last but not least, I encourage you to, when you see this information on the Inspired channel, go verify it, go research it. We make mistakes sometimes, and when we make them, we own up to them when we realize we made them. And we're questioning ourselves too. But you do that too. I don't want you to blindly trust us. We do love you. We appreciate you, and we'll be back with you again very, very soon.